that we are doing sampling. As we have already been talking about it earlier, that we are doing sampling. Now, when we are doing sampling, what is the guarantee? What is the guarantee that the sample which we are collecting is representative of the population or not? I mean, ideally, your sample should represent the population, right? No, if I take sample A, if there are, let's say, 1000 measurements or 1000 units in a population, I take a sample of 50 units from that. I call this as sample A. I take another sample from the same population and I call it sample B. So if I find out mean and standard deviation, if I find out mean and standard deviation of this is mu A, mu B. If I mu A and XA bar, I mean sigma we can see over here. Sigma A, or since it's a sample, we are saying we are representing by SA.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, can you please repeat all of this?
Okay, so see, we are talking about sampling, right? Now, what is the guarantee that the sample which I have drawn is representative of the population or not? What is the guarantee? Now, why we are talking this way? Let's say I take a sample of 10,000. I mean, the population has 10,000 measurements in it. I take a sample of 50 units from that 10,000. Randomly, I choose it and I find out mean and standard deviation from that. Similarly, I choose another set of measurements and I can find out mean and standard deviation of these. So, is XA going to be equal to XB? My question is XA bar equal to XB bar?
No.
Not sure, sir.
Not, I mean, you can't say. It may or may not be. Okay. Similarly, is SA equal to SB? Similarly, we can't say. It's nothing for sure. You can't say that it's going to, although they are drawn from the same population. So the thing is, how do I say that A or B are representative of the population? On what basis should I say? There should be some logical explanation behind that, right? So, deviating a bit away from this, I give vaccine to, let's say, 1,000 people, okay, and out of that 1,000 people, 950 do not get COVID, okay, but 50 still got it. That means, what does that mean? That although the generalizability of the effectiveness of the vaccine, there is a there it can be generalized, okay, and it can be generalized, and there's still a possibility that it may not be 100% true. So there is a difference between generalization and then uh, the truth behind the statement. Okay, so we often say that in our day-to-day lives that uh, nowadays students are more inclined towards going to classes, offline classes. Okay, so this is a statement. It is a generic statement, but does that mean every student will be willing to go to offline class? No, that is also not true. So we try to generalize and we say a word like by and large. Okay, so by and large word we use. So that gives you a safeguard from 100%. So similarly here, when we are drawing samples, it is quite possible that the samples which we are drawing, they may not exhibit the same value of the test, I mean the statistic like X bar and SA, but they are still representative of the population. Okay, huh. If let's say if I pick MNIT students, and on another hand I pick students from another college, and we talk about what do you want to be after you graduate. Okay, so there will be some kind of, so let's say we take a private college, and this particular private college students, they say they want to get a government. We like to prepare once we pass graduate from it, we would like to prepare for government job. So this might be a generic statement coming from most of the students, but not all. Similarly, in MNIT, we may say that we would like to go for managerial positions after we graduate. Hmm? We take corporate job, we do MBA, and we take MBA position. I mean, we'd like to do MBA and then go in managerial position. So it might not be 100% among all of you. It might be some of you want to go, some of you don't want to go, but then by and large, your answer might come out to be the same. So we generalize things. So when we are generalizing, we have to be careful whether the sample which we are choosing to generalize is representative of the population or not. So for that purpose, we do hypothesis testing. I'll write that. We do hypothesis testing. Similarly, when we are doing measurements, so are these measurements representative of the measurements being done by the instrument or not? Or my measurement system, can I generalize it that this measurement system is not capable, or this measurement system is exhibiting certain accuracy, or this measurement system is showing some variation, and this variation is generalizable or not? Getting it? So we do hypothesis testing. Now, what is the meaning of hypothesis? Anyone? What is the meaning of hypothesis? Anyone? Uh, we say hypothetical, right? We also say hypothesis word. So what could be the meaning of word hypothesis?
So
You can
something
Google
that
it.
we imagine and it is not really practically possible.
So hypothesis, no, we don't say it is not practically possible. This is what I think. What is there could be this could be the theory. For example, we say that whenever India plays overseas, the chances of I mean, cricket team losing is more than 60%. Okay. So while we are talking, we are just sitting, four, five of you colleagues are sitting, and then you are talking to each other. Then you say a generic statement like this, that whenever India plays overseas, Indian cricket team plays overseas, we lose 40% of the matches. Okay. So this is a statement which has been made about the population. And what is the population? All the matches which India has played overseas. Okay. Now, can I test it? Can I this is a theory which you have said, right? This is a theory. Now can I test this theory? Okay. So hypothesis basically is a statement about a population. Okay, about a characteristic of a population, or you can say it is a proposal about certain characteristic of a population. So we can express it mathematically also. Let's say we talk about the average height of MNIT students is equal to uh, 5.5 5 foot 6 5 foot 5 inches. So I say this is is a null hypothesis. We call H naught here. It is a null hypothesis. So this is a theory that average height of MNIT students is, I mean, including boys and girls. It's a generic statement I'm throwing. So is equal to 5.5, 5 feet 5 inches. Now, so it comes in couple. The hypothesis is always written in couple. So there's an alternate hypothesis associated with this, that it is not equal to 5.5. So this is called alternate hypothesis. This is alternate hypothesis. So the very first thing that is that when we are proposing something, or when we say that the measurement average measurement is this, of if you are doing if you are produce 1000 shaft and you find out the average diameter of it, so we can say that the average diameter of this production batch is this. Okay, so we can do hypothesis testing there, although it is mostly started being used in the medical field, and then it came to engineering also. So so similarly, I would ask all of you to propose some hypothesis like this in a day-to-day life. Can you write some statements in the chat box? I would like to correct. There are few things which we will be observing. So write in the chat box. All of you write few statements on, I mean, every one of you write one statement about a hypothesis. You create your own hypothesis and write that in the chat box.
So you mean that we have to give an example of a hypothesis?
Yeah, right.
Okay, sir.
It could be in statement form, not a mathematical form right now.
Sir, what is the exact meaning of null hypothesis?
The meaning of null hypothesis is that, see, we generally start with alternate hypothesis. Okay, so before you frame anything, let me clarify a few more things. We start with alternate hypothesis. Now, again, these are statements only. Null hypothesis and alternate hypothesis are statement about the population. Okay, so here the statement we are making is that average height of student is not equal to 5.5. Okay, so we first write the alternate hypothesis, then we write the null hypothesis. This is a general statement. Now, in the null hypothesis, the equal sign always comes in H naught. Okay, equal sign always appears in H naught, while not equal to sign always comes in H1. Then what about other signs? There are other operators also, where like greater than, less than, all these always comes in H1. They also come in alternate hypothesis, greater than, less than. So what do you get in H1 is always equal to sign. So if it is not equal to, or it can be the opposite of this also. So it's like I'll create the pairs over here. What pairs are possible? What combinations are possible? So first combination is mu is equal to some value x. Mu is not equal to some value of x. This is one pair. Another pair could be mu is less than equal to x. So equal to sign will always come in null hypothesis. So here at the first we are writing a null hypothesis and the alternate hypothesis. That's how we are creating the pairs. So the opposite of this will be greater than x. Okay, or it could be mu is greater than equal to x. So opposite of this is going to be mu is less than x. Okay, so these are the pairs, and sometimes or some certain books also write like this: mu is equal to x all the time, and then they create these operators. So all of these are right. less than x. This one is anyway like we have already. So, so what do you see? Just a second. So what you see on the screen are possible sets of hypotheses which you may have. Now, what is the correct way? You can choose either this way, A or B. Either of the standards you can pick to write. Okay, nothing is actually wrong over here. I mean, you can take A or B, but follow a certain style. In some books, you may find this one, and another book set of books you may find A type. Okay, so you should never get confused with this. One thing that's common, what you see is the equal sign never comes in the alternate hypothesis. Now, why there's a reason for that? There's a reason is simple, that it is a standard which is followed by statisticians all over the world. So they are sticking to, and there is a significance behind that. Now, when we are proposing, I'll read these hypotheses which you have written, just that last point, that whenever we are creating these hypotheses, we start with statements of alternate hypothesis. The contradictory statements are written first, and the opposite of that we write it in the null hypothesis. Okay. Now let's see what hypothesis you people have written. Like on an average, an adult sleep for at least 8 hours a day. Okay, great. So Syed is written that 80% of MNIT students are hostelers, right? If you drink coffee before bed, then it will take longer to fall asleep. Okay. Now, what's the difference between the three is that first and the second, the one written by Syed and another written by Puneet Singh, they have a number associated. So always try to associate numbers with your hypothesis. Otherwise, it's all a quantitative approach. So if we are not associating numbers with that, eventually we will have to associate a number with that so that we can validate our hypothesis. So like Sagar is saying, if you drink coffee before bed, then you will take longer to fall asleep. So here word longer can be quantified in terms of, I mean, you collect the data and then you, after collecting the data, you associate a number with that. Okay. Ananya is writing placement in mechanical engineering from MNIT are 85%. Okay, so you can create a hypothesis on that. If someone is doing gym, then he should be quite fit. Now here we have to associate a number with this Vakil. It could be the metabolism rate or the BMI, something like this. And Suthar is saying one piece is too long. So you can, I mean, I understand what you want to say is that the measurement is higher on the higher side. So you have to associate a number with this. If you study well, you're going to get good marks. Yeah, so you have to say if you study well, if you study for at least 4 hours in a day, you will get CGPA more than 8.5. Something you can say like that. To be physically fit, everyone should work 1 hour at least. Okay, taken. If you are rich, then you are happy. So now Chitrang will have to associate some number with this. Like if you have a bank balance of more than 50 lakhs, then you can be a happy person. Okay, or the people, the happiness index of people having more than 50 lakhs in their bank account are happier. Something like this has to. India loses 80% of knockout matches. Yeah, so that's right. Chances of RCB winning IPL. Okay. You cannot make it above 9 CGPA if you have less than 6 CGPA till your 5th semester. A bit complicated, but then again, it could be all solved. So I hope you get the drift over here, all of you guys. Now, for all your statements, you have to write the alternate hypothesis first, and then you have to create the null hypothesis. Okay. So all of you, I think you are able to, I'm guessing that you are able to understand it. Now, we have to represent them on a sketch. So let's try to represent these hypotheses on a sketch. So let's put them on sketch one by one. How do I sketch this hypothesis? What I'm saying is mean. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to put X bar over here. You can please do that. X bar. Yeah. What we are doing is sampling. Okay. And on x-axis, now you have not x value, but x bar. Okay. So we have to be very careful. On x-axis, you have x bar. That means you are taking average. You are writing averages on the x-axis. See, I'll tell you one small theorem, that is central limit theorem. What it says is that I draw multiple samples from x1 to xn, let's say. x1 to, I draw multiple samples from a population. And if I plot these multiple samples, okay, if I make a histogram of these multiple averages, I will get a normal distribution. That's what the central limit theorem says. So that's why on x-axis we have x bar. So when I'm doing measurements, I'm taking multiple samples and then I'm plotting them. Okay. So here on x-axis and here you have x double bar. In a way, you can understand that. That is averages of
Sir, I
the.
have a doubt.
Yeah.
Sir, like all the statements that was written in chat. So, like you said that we start with alternate hypothesis.
Yeah.
So, all of these are alternate hypothesis.
No. This is alternate hypothesis. This is alternate hypothesis. This is alternate hypothesis. Okay. And the green ones are null hypothesis.
So,
Is it
sir,
clear?
the statements written in chat, we have to classify them as some are null hypothesis and some are
No.
alternate.
Every statement in the chat has a null hypothesis and the same statement has an alternate hypothesis. For example, India loses 85% of knockout matches. Okay, so how do I convert that into hypothesis? Okay, you can say that, let's say X is the number of matches which India wins. I mean, we are talking about losing. So India loses 85% of, so it is simply not saying greater than or less than, it is simply 85. So first I write X is not equal to 85. And then this is the alternate hypothesis, and corresponding to this, the null hypothesis which will be created is X equal to 85%. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to find a way to generalize things from samples.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
Sir, can you please repeat central limit theorem again?
Yeah, just a second. Yeah, so central limit theorem says that averages of the samples, they follow the normal distribution. That is, if I have a population, I draw few samples. Let's say these are the samples which can be drawn from the population. I draw the first sample, I find out average of it. I draw another sample, I found out average of it. I draw another sample, I find average of it. So these averages, if I plot them on a histogram and then subsequently I convert them into the probability distribution, this will be normally distributed. All these, so on x-axis you have x bar. Okay, so the averages of the samples drawn from a population, they follow the normal distribution. This is the central limit theorem. Okay, so when you're dealing with averages, you can comfortably take it as a normal distribution. Am I
Sir,
clear?
while you were writing that mu equal to x or mu is greater than equal to x, sir, was it average or was it a sample?
So see, this is the hypothesized mean. What does it mean? What does this mean left side and what does the right side mean? I'll tell you. Mu is the hypothesized mean. Hypothesized mean of the population, and x bar is the sample mean. What's the difference between the two? Hypothesized mean is an indication, is an estimate for the whole population. So you are saying because we can't measure the whole population, I'm considering sample mean to be an estimate of the population mean. So we call it as an hypothesized mean. Are you able to understand it? I mean, you can ask again if you're not. So mu is hypothesized mean, that means I'm generalizing x bar towards the population. मैं सैंपल को पॉपुलेशन का बना रहा हूं, मैं सैंपल मीन को पॉपुलेशन के लिए बोल रहा हूं. आर यू गेटिंग इट? सो जो स्टेटमेंट है मेरा पूरी पॉपुलेशन के लिए एप्लीकेबल रहेगा.
तो सर डज इट मीन कि जो एक्स बार हम लोग वो दे रहे हैं, एक्स बार को हम लोग सैंपल मान रहे हैं ना,
हाँ,
तो उस सब सैंपल्स का मीन निकालेंगे तो म्यू आएगा या कुछ और है वो?
so what it means is that I'll explain that. So what it means is that let's say if I take 100 samples, okay, if I take 100 samples, so I will be having 100 means x1 to x100, okay, and all consider, let's assume that all the means are marginally different from each other. Quite possible and more possible than not. Okay, so इनकी जो वैल्यूज आएगी, इनका एवरेज जो ग्रैंड मीन रहेगा विल बी अ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ द होल पॉपुलेशन. आप यूं भी बोल सकते हैं, और यू कैन ऑल्सो से दैट एक्स बार इज ऑल्सो रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ मीन. बड़ा सिंपल है, लेट मी एक्सप्लेन यू. अभी कोविड की वैक्सीन, सबका इंटरेस्ट है ना इस टॉपिक में. सो कोविड की वैक्सीन है, राइट? सो लेट्स से हर कंट्री में लगी है कोविशील्ड, काफी कंट्रीज में लगी है कोविशील्ड. सो आप ना you take any 1,000 people from each country. Okay, randomly you choose people who have got Covishield from all the countries which have taken this vaccine. किसी कंट्री में एक ब्रेक थ्रू, वो भी बोला जाता है ब्रेक थ्रू इन्फेक्शन. दैट मीन्स वो वैक्सीन लगने के बाद भी हो गया उसको, ना माइल्ड है या स्ट्रॉन्ग है, वो बात अलग है, बट हुआ है. सो आउट ऑफ 1,000 किसी कंट्री में 20 लोग होते हैं, किसी कंट्री में 30 पीपल यू गेट इट, किसी कंट्री में 40 पीपल यू गेट इट, लाइक दैट. सो बट स्टिल द कंपनी जो है वो बोलती है कि ब्रेक थ्रू इन्फेक्शन के चांसेस ओनली 30% है या 20% है. गेटिंग इट? सो वो तो एक फिगर बोल रहे हैं, कंपनी वाला तो एक जो एस्ट्राजेनेका है वो तो बोल रहा है कि 20% को हो सकता है, ठीक है. बाकी हर कंट्री में आप देखेंगे तो वो एग्जैक्टली 20% नहीं आएगा हर कंट्री में, इवन दो सैंपल साइज इज सेम इन एवरी कंट्री. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू एग्री विद दिस? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग? से यस इफ यू आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई एम सेइंग.
Yes, sir.
यस सर.
गेटिंग इट? तो ये जो ग्रैंड मीन है, ये एक तरीके से जो एस्ट्राजेनेका का. सो राइट यस इन द चैट बॉक्स इफ यू अंडरस्टूड व्हाट आई हैव सेड. And no if you have not understood.
एस्टिमेट करने का कोई मतलब मैथमेटिकल तरीका है या फिर कैसे?
हाँ,
इसको फिर हम लोग मतलब गैस ही करते हैं खुद से या फिर कुछ तरीका है उसका अलग?
तुम्हारी आवाज कट रही है. Okay, I'll explain it again. सी बिकॉज द फाउंडेशन आपको इम्पोर्टेंट है, न्यूमेरिकली तो आप कर लेंगे सब, बट फाउंडेशन इज इम्पोर्टेंट बिकॉज ये सब कर क्यों रहे हैं, ये हाउ इज इट पॉसिबल ये. ओके, सो लेट्स से 4 कंट्रीज है. इंडिया है, you have India, you have UK, you have Australia, and एक और country लेते हैं. Let's say you have some European samples taken from other European countries leaving UK. Okay, इंडिया से हमने 1000 लिए, हमने ऑस्ट्रेलिया से 1000 सैंपल लिए, हमने यूके से 1000 सैंपल लिए, एंड यूरोप से 1000, अदर यूरोपियन कंट्रीज से 1000 सैंपल लिए. नाउ द थिंग इज, हम किसकी बात कर रहे हैं? वैक्सीन की बात कर रहे हैं. कौन सी वैक्सीन? कोविशील्ड या जो एस्ट्राजेनेका है. ओके, now this AstraZeneca has been given to all these 1000 people and these 1000 people have been chosen randomly. Now breakthrough infection कितनों में होता है? Let's say 20% अगर उसने फिगर दिया है तो 150 people में यहाँ पे ब्रेक थ्रू हुआ है, यहाँ पे 175 पे हुआ है, यहाँ पे you got 180 people break through, यहाँ पे you got 190 people break through. Okay, so what is the percentage यहाँ पे? So in सब की अलग आएगी percentage. Here you get how much? 85% people did not get it. You can say whatever percentage comes out. So
Sir,
let's say यहाँ पे
Excuse me,
82% did not. हाँ, yeah.
sir, यहाँ पे 1000 तो samples है ना, 1000 people
Okay,
थोड़ी है.
do we guess it or there is a method to explain it? What explanation, Sagar? What is it over here? Mu. Okay, we do not guess it. We take it from sample, or it may also be available from experience of the people. It may also be available from some small study you may do. Okay, so it you can get it from many different ways. If you have data, past data, you can get it from that. You can get it from experience, like we often do in our day-to-day lives. So mu value, the hypothesized mean value, we can get it from different ways.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, so here, yeah.
Sir, this 1000 is 1000 are samples and 150 are people, right?
Who got exposed? I mean, who got COVID? You can say that even after getting vaccine.
So how is this percentage value calculated?
So out of 1000, I mean, just randomly I'm writing some percent rather than wasting time on calculating the percentage, exact percentage. I'm just writing some values.
Sir, 85% is what?
85% did not get it. Here 82% did not get it after getting vaccinated.
So
Okay.
from a particular sample or from all the samples?
No, from this 1000, I mean 1000 people who had got vaccine, out of that, in those 1000 people, 85% did not get it after getting exposed, you can say that.
So that's what the question is. 1000 is sample or 1000 is number of people?
Number of people.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Of course, number of people, yeah. So here it is some 81%. I'm just writing these random numbers. And here, let's say 79%. So now we can see, but the company over here, the AstraZeneca, it says that 80% people will not get it. Okay, but what we are seeing is the varying figures. All 4 countries are exhibiting different figures. Okay, so now how do I generalize this? But let's say I took only sample from India and then I generalized it. Okay, 85% people are not getting it. Okay, but he's saying it 80%, but still it is acceptable. These two are acceptable. These two correspond to each other. So the variation, so now the thing comes is that is the variation so much that it is not it cannot be accepted, that is 80 is not equal to 85. So basically it boils down to one point, that variation. If the variation is too high from the grand mean, then probably we cannot generalize it. Then the sample mean cannot be generalized. Let's say
So what is the grand mean here?
grand mean is 80. Grand mean is 80.
एंड सर जो 80 लिया है वो हमने रैंडमली चूज करा है ना, वो तो
नहीं,
नंबर
randomly, I mean, the AstraZeneca, what they claim is on their study of 40-50,000 people. Getting it?
तो सर जैसे हमारे पास अलग अलग कंट्रीज का जो डेटा है,
हाँ
जैसे इंडिया का अगर 85% आया है
हाँ
and इसका 82 है, तो उन सब का मीन लेके डायरेक्टली नहीं बोल सकते उसको ग्रैंड मीन.
उसका कारण है, we cannot say that because you can draw, I mean, very large number of samples और हर सैंपल की अलग वैल्यू आ सकती है, तो आप कितने का मीन लेंगे? गेटिंग इट? तो आप पूरी पॉपुलेशन का अगर आप कर ही क्यों रहे, द होल reason or the whole thing behind this is you cannot cover the whole population. That's why you are assuming these means. Okay, so
सर
yeah.
सर जो 40,000 आपने बताया वो 40,000 एक ही कंट्री से है या फिर अलग अलग कंट्री से? जो जब कंपनी ने क्लेम किया था तो उन्होंने 40,000.
So yeah, of course, how do company do it? Like they do it in for what demographics they consider is totally different depending on the country. So हम कह सकते हैं कि ये सारी population cover करी होगी इन्होंने, सारी demographic cover करी होगी. Okay, so let's come back to the same point that every mean will be different, but I am going to take only one sample and based on that sample I am going to say कि ये mean है, ये population mean है. So can I generalize it or not? Because you see this variation and here is x bar. So is the variation in x bar so much that we can't, can we generalize it or not? Okay, is this statement true or not? Getting it? So that's the whole aim of hypothesis testing is can I derive characteristic of the whole population from sample or not? Okay, can I, and I need to prove it also, right? If the average human being they sleep for 8 hours in a day. Okay, so I need to prove that based on now ये population ये कैसे prove करेंगे? ये hypothesis है H0 and H1. They don't sleep for 8 hours, they sleep for 8 hours. So this is the hypothesized mean कि जो humans हैं they sleep for 8 hours in a day. Okay, so how do you prove this? You can't take every human being on earth and find out the average. Can you do that? Can you do that? No, that's not possible. So if that's not possible, then what is the other way? Other way is to find out samples, and that's what happens. You open the newspaper, they are saying whatever figure you see on in the newspaper, they are just representative of some. They are just coming from some sample, and they are saying it for the whole population. You pick today's newspaper, you will find it. In experimentation, you do the same thing. When you are doing an experiment, you are doing measurement, you are doing the same thing. You are taking samples, and then you are generalizing it for the instrument or for the system or whatever you are doing. Now,
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, do x double bar always equal to mu?
No, it cannot be. I mean, it will never be equal to mu. And there's a very good chance it will never be, and a very small chance it might be, just because of by chance you can say that it might be equal. Are you getting it?
Okay, sir.
See, it might look strange to you, but we are dealing with figures. आप सबने वैक्सीन लगवा ली है अपने ऑलरेडी. ओके, ऑन व्हाट बेसिस? आपने ये हाइपोथेसिस टेस्टिंग ही हुई है. आप इफ यू ओपन द पेपर जो पब्लिश करते हैं वो साइंटिफिक जर्नल्स में, their results are validated with this hypothesis testing only. वो सैम्पलिंग करते हैं, डेटा कलेक्ट करते हैं, नहीं हाइपोथेसिस टेस्टिंग करते हैं. अगर ये सही आती है तो वो आपको वैक्सीन लगा देते हैं. Are you getting it? So you have trusted this technique what we are doing with your life. You can open the scientific paper.
How
Which
do
I,
they test it?
huh?
Like,
Yeah, that's how
like
we are.
how? I
Yeah.
mean, they have to compare it with some standard grand mean. How do they calculate that? How do they know the mean, standard mean? I mean,
Yeah, so
grand mean.
that's what we are doing now. I mean, this is the standards are the tables which we have been using, and of course we are not going to study a medical journal over here, but then at the back of it, that's what we are. What is at the back of the measurement? That's what we are going to do in this. Okay. So the backside of the story or the statistical part of the story is what we are learning here. Now, if let's say your alternate, you got three types of alternate. Our alternate hypothesis can be of three types. I'm saying HA or H naught. Some books are also going to represent alternate hypothesis H1. Okay. So if your alternate hypothesis has mu greater than some value, then how do I represent this hypothesis on sketch? So here there's a rejection level which we have to indicate. So this is represented by alpha, that is significance value. Which is equal to 1 minus confidence interval. Confidence interval is the same thing which we have found out earlier. In the previous classes, we were finding out confidence interval. So alpha. So alpha is, let's say, 5%. That means if I draw sample of 100, if I draw 100 samples, among them 95 samples will exhibit a mean closer to my hypothesized mean. Okay, but there is a chance that 5% will not. So you can say consider it as a type of an error in the measurement. So 5% will not correspond to my hypothesized mean. Okay, so this significance value is decided by the user. The higher significance value you take, there are chances that your null hypothesis may get rejected. Now, the thing is, what do I do is I calculate the value of Z corresponding to my mean, my sample mean. I calculate Z calculate my sample mean. I calculate Z value corresponding to my sample mean. Okay. And I try to locate this Z calculated. If Z calculated value falls in this region, then H naught is rejected. Okay. If Z value calculated falls in this region, ZC, then H naught is accepted. So you can say in a way that the blue region is the acceptance region. Acceptance of null hypothesis. We say it is acceptance region.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, should this rejected limit not be on both side of mu?
Good question. See what I have written here. If this region is applicable when mu is greater than when your alternate hypothesis is saying greater than some value of x. So greater means on the right side of the mean. Okay. So your rejection region is on the right side of the mean. And this red part is your rejection region.
Sir, so mu greater than a value is alternate hypothesis.
Yeah. So here alternate hypothesis is when you have a greater than sign in the alternate hypothesis. Then at that point, your rejection region is on the right side of the mean. So this is your mean, the red line, it is on the right side. So your rejection region lies on the right side of the mean if your alternate hypothesis is greater than type of sign. Okay, and rejection region of H naught. So alternate hypothesis gets rejected if your calculated value of Z falls in this region. And if your calculated value of Z falls in the blue region, we say it is acceptance region for null hypothesis. Okay, so if null hypothesis gets accepted, the alternate hypothesis gets rejected automatically. So both can't be true together. H0 and H1 can't be true together. Only one can be true at a time. Okay, and what does that mean? If your H0 is rejected, that means the variation in the sample means is so high that they deviate a lot on the higher side. Okay, and the sample which I have drawn is not exhibiting the same characteristic which we thought to be. We will continue from here in the next class. I think I'll upload it. You can go through it again. These concepts are a little bit difficult to digest initially, but then it becomes pretty easy once we take 2-3 problems on it. Okay.
Sir, acceptance of H0 means that we can generalize the result.
Yeah, we can generalize what we are saying in H0. And if alternate hypothesis is accepted, then we can generalize the alternate what we are saying. And whatever generally what we want to say, we stated in the alternate hypothesis, except that not equal to 1. Okay. So you can give your attendance, and I'm stopping the recording now.